Where's our fucking shit? Hello, welcome to another episode of Tables, Ladders, and Chairs. I'm your host, Eric, joined as always by T. T, how are you tonight?
Doing okay.
All right, good to see you. Thought I'd change up the look a little bit for tonight's episode. Yeah, we're all over the place. Hopefully, checking us out in all your Facebook groups and everything there. So definitely want to get into everything going on right now for SummerSlam. Have a different idea of something I want to do tonight, which I do want to talk about. Sort of I'll call it the state of the champions in WWE, and more like what we feel going on right now in the title scene and what we see like, developing as we go. I want to try to do this a little bit, in particular weeks we're not previewing a pay-per-view. So this will be, I think, a fun little exercise that we have tonight. First off, in case anybody missed it, and last Friday on hey, how you doing, Sean? Good to see you, buddy. Um, in case you missed it last week, the contract signing, which was intended originally Roman Reigns and Finn Balor, was hijacked originally by Baron Corbin in his attempt to become relevant. And I love the look on Roman Reigns' face when Corbin did that. Like, what in the blue hell are you doing? Like, what is wrong with you? And then John Cena just shows up. And you knew that was happening when, as soon as Corbin attacks him during the contract signing, you knew that it was going to be Cena, right? Like Cena was going to come out, save the day, and end up signing the contract.
Such a dirty, underhanded move.
Dare I say, kind of heelish.
Cena's first heel move in years, decades.
Yeah, a long, long time. Would it be interesting? Do you think there's a chance that, like, look, we all know that John Cena is not going to be around long term in this, picture. They're calling it the Summer of Cena, and the last scheduled appearance I see in the whole thing is a match at SummerSlam. Now we know against Roman Reigns. So I would assume if he were to win the title, it would be followed by a quick cash in by Big E, or the title kind of disappears for a while. Like,
I don't think Cena would be that type to leave with the belt without dropping it.
yeah, I agree with you. I don't think John Cena would do that. I think he would drop the title before leaving. But man, it kind of sets an interesting spot up, like because they don't want to make the SummerSlam main event that predictable. And I've been saying all along, I think that Goldberg is going to win the WWE Championship from Lashley, and then Big E is going to cash in on Goldberg. And I really, really, really hope I'm right about that.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, right. Like that would be such a cool moment. Like they want to make SummerSlam this year as big as a WrestleMania. Like that was the goal because this is the first time they're going to be on, in front of a full crowd, for one of their major four. And so SummerSlam going to be really huge. I mean, they're pulling out all the stops, bringing back John Cena and putting him in the ring against Roman Reigns and Edge and Seth Rollins. Heck, we haven't really even gotten into that story. I like that they dug into the old story of when Seth Rollins was going to give the curb stomp to Edge. And at that time, man, that would have sent shockwaves. Like, because, Edge was on the do not touch list.
Yeah, like I said last week, it's gonna be match of the night.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that match, we called the Las Vegas Police Department. That match is going to steal the show.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, am I the only one that misses JBL on commentary? Because, of course, I just pulled a JBL line out. I liked him on commentary.
He had his moments.
He did have, his like you said, his moments. He had his one-liners that were usually pretty good. When he would always say it's WrestleMania, the lights are on bright. And to me, that's one of those expressions that he used that stands out in my memory of watching WrestleManias. And so now, anytime I watch it, whenever I think, want to talk about something, it's like, man, they're at WrestleMania, the lights are on bright. And I just keep thinking, I'm just like, man, it's a JBL line. I think he's one of the more underrated historically. His character is very underrated, as far as what he did as a heel, both in the ring and on commentary. He was pretty awesome. And so that kind of brings me up, if you want to talk about it tonight, guys who we see right now in the ring that are really good on the mic and you think could be great announcers when their wrestling career is done.
I don't know who really comes to mind right now.
I have one that comes to mind. The Miz.
It was a good one.
I think he will be the next Jerry Lawler of commentators. Yeah,
I was watching, or this thing came up on my feed yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who is a fantastic, amazing, probably one of the best wrestlers, never did commentary ever, which would be one Kurt Angle.
Yeah. Oh, he would be fantastic on commentary.
Said he would have loved to have done it, but he never offered it to him.
Oh, man. So you and I have had this discussion several times off air about AEW. And tonight I've decided. Have you been watching it all?
I have not watched yet.
Okay, well, tonight I am going to make the case for you to watch AEW. Because when I sat here and watched it last night's episode, while waiting to do tonight's show, and let me tell you, from start to finish, that program is just unbelievably entertaining. And last week they kind of teased that they're starting a new show, AEW Rampage. It's going to be on Friday nights on TNT at 10 o'clock, conveniently enough, right after SmackDown.
Convenient.
I think it's designed to capture that audience that watches SmackDown and then wants to watch more wrestling after that. And it's a great idea. And so they're going to do, I don't know if it's a 1 hour or 2 hour show. If it's 2 hours, man, staying up till midnight, even though it is Friday night, that's going to be a bit of a challenge for me. That alarm goes off 4 o'clock every morning, But so they've been kind of teasing, and Darby Allin, I believe it was last week, was talking about it, that the second episode is going to be in Chicago. The first episode is going to be in Pittsburgh next week on August the 13th. And so Darby Allin in a, one of his, promos, he made reference to he was willing to take on anybody when they get to Chicago, people who think that they're great, people who think they're the best in the world. So you know what he was leaning towards. It's sounding a whole hell of a lot like AEW is teasing the debut in AEW of one CM Punk. Which it's supposedly already rumored that they've signed Bryan Danielson, who wrestled in WWE, is Daniel Bryan. And I think I told you my dream match that I've not gotten, and I want it so bad, is on one of the major shows. CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, an Iron Man match. A 60-minute Iron Man match between those two. I feel like they would put on a show that would never be topped. And if AEW does that, okay, if they put that match on, if it's on pay-per-view, I'm ordering the pay-per-view, and basically nobody bother me for that hour. Got me turn my phone off for that hour. If it's on regular like Dynamite or Rampage, I will take off from work that day and the next day to make sure that I am not, kept from watching this match. That's how badly I want to watch that match.
Hey, if they could pull that off, I'll definitely start watching.
Okay, so I have your word. We just said it right here, on the internet. Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, Iron Man match. You will watch AEW that night.
Most definitely.
Awesome. All right, so AEW execs, I'm sure Tony Khan is a watcher of the show. I can't imagine why he wouldn't be. What else does he have to do on a Thursday night? Yeah, it's not like he owns a football team or anything. Oh, wait. Well, not really a football team. The Jacksonville Jaguars don't really count, right? Which I know you're not a football guy, but yeah, tonight we're gonna make sure we are out of here by about like 7:30, 7:45 because the NFL Hall of Fame game is on at 8, and that is the first preseason game of the year. And yours truly is a football junkie. And so I will be going to check that out. So we'll be ending around in, I guess, probably about a half hour because I got to watch it. And then about 10 minutes into it, because it's the first preseason game and nobody plays in the preseason, I'll sit there and say, why the hell am I subjecting myself to this? Why don't I go watch the new show Yellowstone that I've been binge watching, which, oh my God, how come that has been kept from me for so long? But anyway, I can go down rabbit holes all day, in case you haven't noticed. But let's talk. I said I wanted to talk about the state of championships, and I'll explain a little bit about what I mean by that. So I'm going to start with, I'll start with NXT, the North American Championship, currently being held by Isaiah Swerve Scott. And
Yeah.
I like him. I like it. Whose house? Swerve's house. I like him a lot. And it's funny because I really thought he was going to end up being one of the more underutilized guys in NXT and then would go to the main roster and really shine, because I thought he just had that kind of the look and charisma and the attitude that would carry himself well on the main roster. And I like that they've given him a group. I'm hoping what they do is put Hit Row and let them debut on Raw or SmackDown and like come out against a big time babyface and just beat the holy hell out of them. And, just let them do that and then build that storyline from there.
I could see them feuding with like the Street Profits or something. Just to get
yeah. I could definitely see that. I would love to see a little Street Profits Hit Row action. And so, yeah, that's my thought right now on the North American champion. And I like him. I think he can have some good matchups. I hope that they eventually give Bronson Reed a rematch and build off that storyline. Right now, it seems like they want to sort of just go on this whole that Bronson Reed's on a losing streak. Losing to Adam Cole last week before Adam Cole got by Kyle O'Reilly. That was cool. I wonder how they're going to carry that storyline. But anyway, we'll get into that again. Like I said, being rabbit holes. But So your thought, like, it sort of looks like they're setting up Legado del Fantasma against Hit Row. Like, that's going to be the story, and I would assume at some point we get Isaiah Swerve Scott versus Santos Escobar for the North American Championship.
I think they might already be on the card for 30 Takeover
For
30.
36? Yeah. I haven't heard that that was officially booked, but I would imagine with the way they're writing the storyline that it will be.
Yeah, if it's not, it'll definitely be within a week or two.
Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on that? Would you want to predict a winner right now? I would think Swerve, it would be his first major title defense. I would think Swerve retains.
Yeah, I see Swerve retaining, but it's just weird how they're doing a heel versus heel type thing.
Yeah, they're not. NXT's not been afraid to go there with heels versus heels.
But I'm definitely with it, man.
Yeah, the Karrion Kross Johnny Gargano NXT Championship match. Like, they're not afraid to go heel versus heel when the situation dictates.
Mm-hmm.
But before we move on to the next championship, any thoughts on the Johnny Gargano, Dexter Lumis, the end of Index? I was heartbroken. True love was on the line.
You didn't see the end of that match?
Yeah, he lost. Dexter Lumis lost.
Well, yeah, but you didn't see the part where Indy.
Well, yeah, Indy still went over and kissed him, and like,
if you want to call that a kiss, more like making the hell out.
yeah, it was basically just the two of them made out in the ring. Yeah, I don't know where they go with that because, yeah, that was supposed to be a lover her leave her match. But yeah, I'm curious if they're going to do anything with that. Maybe one more time, lover or leaver, Johnny Gargano versus Dexter Lumis at TakeOver 36.
Yeah, that's where they should do it, is on the TakeOver.
Yeah, I agree. I would really enjoy watching the two of them at a TakeOver. So, okay, we've talked about the North American Championship, the NXT Tag Team titles. MSK, no idea what that stands for, and they haven't really elaborated, which I kind of think is funny. The tag team, of course, if you remember from the Impact Wrestling, they were the Rascals, along with Trey Miguel, who's still in Impact, but now MSK in NXT, really doing a great job. Love what they're doing. I really enjoyed their match with Ciampa and Thatcher. And I really enjoy that tag team. I think I would at first, but I really do.
Yeah, I didn't really like him at first, but over time, they're starting to grow on me. Like, they're kind of fun to watch.
Right. Like that hard-nosed, tough guy approach. Like, I'm really digging it. I would love I think those two should be tag team champions, which, by the way, if Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher were to win the NXT Tag Team Championships, Tommaso Ciampa would be the first guy to hold two NXT Tag Team titles with two different partners.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, unless you count any of that stuff that went on with the Undisputed Era. But it was like, at the base of it, the team that won it each time was Fish and O'Reilly, even though they had other guys defend while Bobby Fish was injured. But at the base of it, Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish won the tag team titles each time they won the belts.
Yeah, that is true.
So that would be my argument behind anybody who said, well, what about, like, say, O'Reilly and Roderick Strong? So then that would be Kyle O'Reilly, because he also won them with Bobby Fish. But I would say there was never a time where, as challengers, Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong won the tag team titles, and they were the official tag team champions. It was always Fish and O'Reilly. Which,
Although Fish get injured a lot, so
yeah, he's been very injury prone. I always figured that was the reason why they never attempted to call up the Undisputed Era, is because of the number of times they don't feel like they can trust Bobby Fish, and so they didn't want to break up the Undisputed Era at the time, and so they just didn't call them up and let them down in NXT. Mm-hmm. And now that the Undisputed Era is broken up, I would think it would make a ton of sense to call up Adam Cole, baby.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing much left for him to do in NXT. I mean, go for the NXT title again, but
right, like, and what's really the point?
It's pretty much done it all.
Yeah, I would think it's time for Adam Cole to come to the main roster, and I'm wondering who would make sense for him to feud with on the main roster. I would love a Adam Cole and Drew McIntyre rivalry. I think those two could tear the house down. Yeah, we can come up with reasons for that rivalry. But okay, so that's the tag team titles. The women's championship right now, Raquel Gonzalez, and she's going to have to face Dakota Kai. We all knew it was going to come to that at some point.
Yeah. No one's left.
Yeah, no one was left. And so it was like, okay, I guess it's time to turn Dakota on Raquel. And Raquel was definitely getting bigger than, in such a bigger spot that, like, it was time to break up that tandem.
Yeah.
And that was one of those cases. I think they really timed it well. Like, they didn't wait for it to completely go stale. Like, and they kind of wrote it out for as long as they could. And now we have Raquel and Dakota Kai. It's going to be a great matchup when those two get together. And I can't wait. I think that has the potential to steal the show at TakeOver.
Kind of want Dakota Kai to win just so she can have on her name.
I do too. I think Dakota Kai deserves it.
She's a fantastic worker.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Look, everything they've asked her to do, she's knocked out of the park. From being a scared little girl with Shayna Baszler to working with Raquel Gonzalez, turning on Team Rhea Ripley at War Games in what's just a great classic turn, which I felt like they should have done that then. I felt like that was a good use of that angle. The only thing I thought, though, that then Rhea Ripley and Tegan Knox should have lost, and Candice LeRae should have lost in War Games match, because basically it was 4-on-2 and the 2 won.
Yeah.
I thought, I'm like, okay, like, this is ridiculous.
They have to put over Rhea Ripley.
Well, yeah. I felt like at the time Candice LeRae should have taken the pin in War Games, and that way you're not really killing the momentum of Rhea Ripley. That may have been a great time to turn Candice heel, because she could have been like, said something like, afterwards, Rhea, you must blame me for the loss since I got pinned. Rhea, of course, would be confused, but then it would end up with the two of them having a match. And, and Candice LeRae turning heel and Rhea Ripley winning. But anyway, the way that they ended up turning her heel, I think was the right way to do it in the end. During the Ciampa Gargano match. Which, personal note, love that rivalry, love that tag team. I actually have the Team DIY shirt, still wear it a ton.
Wonder if they'll ever get back together or feud again. Either or.
I'd love to see the two of them reunite, like on Raw or SmackDown. But speaking of tag teams, I guess I should wait and do this in the right order. The women's championship, the women's tag team championships, I don't really know what they're going to do there. Io and why can I never remember her partner's name?
Tony Stark.
No, yeah. Yeah, Stark. Yeah, she's like they're both really good, and I think
Wait,
they have good comedy stuff. But like right now, the the women's division isn't deep enough to have a real, tag team division. I think they need to build the. I think they need to build the women's roster on all sides, really. Like they gutted the women's roster with all the moves by getting rid of like the Iconics, and all the other women that they'd let go. Yeah, I think that they need to do more as far as building the women's brand again. Yeah, I hope.
yeah, what they should do, just temporarily, like combine the WWE and the NXT women's tag team titles, because there's not enough teams on either of the three shows.
Right.
So just, I guess, title unification for the time being. And once we get some more women's tag teams, and to reintroduce the NXT women's tag titles, and then, or just use the WWE women's tag team titles as they were meant to be on all three shows.
Yeah.
Give the NXT once in a while.
Yeah, and go more often. I would say that would be the thing. They need to go there more often. And look, like right now, the WWE women's tag team titles are kind of in flux with the injury to Natalia. I don't know how long she's going to be out. What they're going to do about the tag titles? If they're going to have a tournament and vacate the titles and have a new champions, or if they're just going to not do anything with them, which kind of seems like their plan right now. Which I certainly hope not.
Guess it all depends on how long Natty's out for.
Right. So, okay, now the NXT Women's Champion right now, Raquel Gonzalez. I've said, that great story there. So I touched on that, the Women's Tag Team Champion. So I guess the only NXT title left to talk about is one Karrion Kross and the NXT Championship. I don't know what their plans are, if they're going to let Samoa Joe win the belt for what will be an unprecedented third time. I personally would love to see it. Samoa Joe should have won the Universal title or the WWE title at some point.
Yeah.
Like, they haven't done that as a joke. I am certainly glad to see that it was not like I was scared when I saw them bring him back in the enforcer role, that what it meant was they weren't willing to trust Joe in the ring anymore, much like what they did with Wade Barrett, bringing him back as a commentator. I was concerned that was going to happen. I'm glad to see that now Samoa Joe back in ring competition. He's just too good to keep out of main event title pictures.
Well, with Karrion Kross technically being on Raw, sort of, I guess they might as well close the deal and have Joe win the belt, and then send Kross packing.
Yeah, I think they should as well. I think that would be the right thing to do. And let him and Keith Lee fight each other forever on Monday Night Raw. I enjoyed all three matches that they've had. And I certainly hope that, or I guess they fought each other twice. Each of them winning one. I'm assuming they will face each other again this week on Raw, because that's what they do. It's Monday Night Raw, so Karrion Kross versus Keith Lee. On Raw, that seems bad. On NXT, when they had Keith Lee face Dominik Dijakovic every 2 weeks, it didn't seem to bother me as much.
A match printed money.
Which I'd love to see them bring that back. And which one is he? Mace or T-Bar? I think he's T-Bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dominic Dijakovic. I'd love to see Keith Lee just face T-Bar and then just be like, "Wait, you're Dominic Dijakovic. What are you doing like this?" I think that would be the best way to do that, and then maybe they could, let Dijakovic and Madden be Dijakovic and Madden instead of with Mason T-Bar.
I hope so. Mace will just have to fend for himself.
Well, yeah, I mean, Mace could still be in. Okay, he could be in the 24/7 title picture.
I guess.
Which I'm still waiting for the day that what they do with that 24/7 championship is let somebody in a stable win the belt, and then whoever's coming to challenge has to fight everybody in the stable to try and take the belt from the 24/7 champion. I thought they were going to do that with Shelton Benjamin in the Hurt Business, but they didn't do it. So, okay, that brings me to the 24/7 championship. See, that's what we call a segue.
I was about to do one myself. Well, real quick.
Yeah.
Last Friday on SmackDown was the first time they showed the 24/7 title on SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
Like, about time.
Yeah, right? It's defended all the time. Why wouldn't they just randomly show up on an NXT or which one on SmackDown?
So, does this mean it could be defended on all three or both shows? Or
I would think that's what it means.
For the longest while, I was thinking it was a Raw exclusive title.
Yeah, well, I mean, it seemed like it, but then I was like, why wouldn't it? Like, because the belt's on the line 24/7. Why wouldn't somebody from SmackDown just show up? Like, even if it was supposed to be he's at his house, somebody from SmackDown shows up at his house and beats him for the belt. It's 24/7. That's where they did it so much better with the hardcore title. Because now it's just, it happens in the arena, and if it doesn't happen in the arena, now I get it, for the last year and whatever, we've had all this COVID stuff, which don't even get me down that rabbit hole. That's a depressing rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
But, I thought, like, man, why wouldn't they do some of that? And especially now, like, I'd love to see them do that with Reggie. Like, let him be out to eat at a restaurant, maybe trying to hit on a girl or something, and then somebody comes out of nowhere, roll up, or a small package, and just gets him for the pin. And it'd be great to, like, reference, if he was there trying to hit on a lady and gets beaten with a small package, and it's like, kind of the funny little sexual innuendo. Right? It would be hilarious. Maybe the girl could say something, wow, beat by a small package. Like, I don't know. That's where my, like, third grade sense of humor goes.
I'm right there with you, man.
And I feel like a lot of wrestling fans would be that way. Okay, moving on. United States champion currently Sheamus, looking like, if it's not already been announced, it will be announced. Sheamus and Damian Priest at SummerSlam.
It's a shame. You just once again pulled the rug from Humberto Carrillo.
Yeah. Damian Priest is the guy. He's the bigger star. He's got more momentum. He had the WrestleMania match. It's just leading towards a Damian Priest title reign. It's time to put a belt on Damian Priest, and this makes the most sense.
Sure.
Like, Intercontinental Champion Apollo Crews doesn't seem to have any challenger really lined up. That's the one belt that I don't know what they're doing with it. Like,
it kind of looked like they were lining up Nakamura to challenge last week during that 6-man tag.
Yeah, and maybe they will be. That would make a lot of sense. I would enjoy that.
I mean, sure. Why not?
Okay, the Raw Tag Team Champions. The AJ Styles and Omos. I feel like this has to be a battle with RK Bro. I was expecting Randy Orton to come back this past Monday. I'm hoping he comes back this coming Monday because we need Orton back. We need RK Bro in the title hunt.
But kudos to Riddle for carrying the storyline so far.
Yeah, he has this whole time. I don't know. Like, I'm assuming Randy must be injured or having some kind of personal issue.
Hopefully he'll be back in time.
Yeah, I'd like to have the match at SummerSlam. If not, definitely at Clash of Champions.
Or if he's not back in time, Riddle could challenge both AJ and Omos by himself. Be like, I'm doing it for you, Randy.
That would actually be really cool. I would love to see them have that match like on Monday Night Raw or something, and then at the end of it, after Riddle gets beat down, like maybe not that week, but the next week, all of a sudden Orton shows up and maybe he jumps Omos in the back and lays him out, and then all of a sudden AJ's all freaked out because he doesn't have his class, and and then Randy Orton attacks AJ, and it sets up SummerSlam, Randy Orton and Riddle, RK Bro versus AJ and Omos. All right, so now let's talk about the SmackDown Tag Team titles, and that being the Usos, which I'm repping the Usos tonight. I have been a super huge fan of the Usos forever. Loving their work now as a heel as a part of Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. Them against the Mysterios, I enjoyed. I would enjoy them against the Street Profits if they were to challenge for the SmackDown Tag Titles. So, either way, I feel like I'll enjoy whatever they put on them, if they even do anything with them at SummerSlam, or if it's just going to be about watching Roman's back against John Cena.
Yeah, because they haven't really alluded to any tag title match.
No.
But there's still time.
Yeah, we talked already about the women's tag team titles, so we can kind of table that discussion for now. The Raw Women's Champion, Nikki ASH. I'm getting more and more entertained by this character every week.
I don't know. I don't know if she should retain, though.
So, if she were to not retain, should it be Charlotte or should it be Rhea Ripley?
That's the thing. I don't know.
And that's kind of the cool thing about it. Like, I go into that match, I really don't know who I want to win or who will win, I
mean, if Charlotte wins, that's like belt number 13 or 14 or something, right?
Actually, I think it's 12.
I
think. You might be right. It might be 13.
Just up there.
Yeah. Well, you know what they're trying to do. They're going to have her flat pass Ric Flair to either this year's WrestleMania or next. Okay. So then the next title, the SmackDown Women's title, Bianca Belair, Sasha Banks. They tore the house down at WrestleMania. They're going to probably tear the house down again at SummerSlam. Love the way they did that whole story with Sasha coming back, having the back of Bianca Belair, only to turn on her. Which is a very Sasha Banks thing to do.
That was a predictable turn, but still good.
I really thought it was going to happen like right away during the run-in. And then when it didn't, I thought, well, gosh, maybe they're really going to be a team. And then it'll just be a friendly little, I want to compete, I want to challenge for the SmackDown Women's Championship. But I'd much prefer the good heel turn way of getting the championship match.
She made Big Show proud.
Yeah, seriously. She's going to be the next NASCAR superstar. Just always turning. Okay, WWE Championship, Bobby Lashley, Goldberg. To me, if Goldberg does win, it has to be an immediate cash in from Big E. Otherwise, you need Lashley to retain, right?
Yeah. And a win over Goldberg, that'll put some. What's the word?
Some
I don't know.
credibility. Yeah.
Good win.
Yeah, it'll be a statement win. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Universal title. Gonna be the main event at SummerSlam. 40-inch slip there. Almost said WrestleMania. Roman Reigns, John Cena, Universal title. I mean, it's the only thing left because Roman hasn't. I mean, I guess Roman and Finn Balor. I still think they're going to stretch that out over 2 matches to have Finn win the belt as the Demon King at Horror Show Extreme Rules if they go with that theme again. Which would make a ton of sense, having it in October, having the Demon King win the title that night. And Halloween is on a Sunday. I don't know if their plan is to put Extreme Rules or whatever pay-per-view in October on Sunday, on Halloween. To me, that would make perfect sense. I know NXT did it last year, but WWE Halloween Havoc pay-per-view, I think that would be awesome.
I didn't know that was the setup.
Well, it is. I don't think that.
I didn't know Halloween was on
WWE's
Sunday.
putting their show on that night, but I know Halloween is on a Sunday this year, so it would make a lot of sense. Put the pay-per-view on Halloween night, and then other than be a quick turnaround and then go to Survivor Series, which wouldn't be that big a deal. But
actually, they don't even need to do the pay-per-view. They can just have like a little network special, like Beast in the East and stuff like that.
Yeah. They could do Extreme Rules like the week before or something, and have it just be a network special Halloween Havoc. You could include NXT guys. Yeah, it'd be good, and it'd be a good way to maybe set up your Raw versus SmackDown, maybe even versus NXT at Survivor Series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good call on that. So yeah, there we go. That was a fun little thing. We ran down all the Titan championships. Everybody, appreciate you joining us. It looks like I'm going to get out of here with enough time to go position myself to eat and watch football. Everybody, have a great night. Thanks for tuning in. T, anything to add before we get out of here?
Not really, no.
Awesome. Love it. You don't know, that's a take off the movie Major League, where at the end, Bob Uecker does all the talking, and then he would always say, Lonnie, anything to add? Nah. And yeah, they don't call him the best color man in the league for nothing. All right, everybody, have a great night. We will see you next week, and happy wrestling.
Night.